Thank you for coming to Dash Behavioral Model meeting for today. The last one before the December holidays, December 15th. I'll go ahead and turn off my camera. So what I'm going to project right now is just my screen to show the GitHub Behavioral Model project. This link I usually include it in the meeting notes every week, somewhere near the bottom of the meeting notes if it's something you'd like to go look at on your own. But what we have here is the all up behavioral model here and the backlog here. The items that we've done, here are under the done status, honey. So there's quite a few things that we've gotten done in the last 9 months or so. And then we also had a few bugs that we figured out. But I think the frustrating part of BMV2 is that we have a lot of tests that we're writing that just don't seem to run in BMV2. We don't have the support that we need. Would that be a true statement, Chris, or rest of the team?
Yeah, that's true. We're starting to write more and more tests that have to be marked don't run if BMV2. And it's almost the converse of, let's say, the vision that we set out to have a model that says this is how it shall work. Now go and implement. We're working a little bit upside down from that, where the vendor implementations are actually starting to work even with libsci. And people are producing SAI interfaces, but we don't have a behavioral model as the reference because it's incomplete. So, it's just kind of a reality check. It would be useful to have both in tandem.
Right. So I don't know if there's an alternative to BMV2 or, I don't think we'd want to start over. What do you guys think? Or just keep banging away at this after the new year and work towards the compiler, the simulator, the connection tracking, just keep going?
I mean, I'm just curious, I recall this issue being raised, I don't know, January or so. I guess maybe Marian might have been hoping that others would be taking up the banner for enhancements there more so than they have, and they didn't.
Yeah.
Whereas everybody else thought, you guys want to do this, it's up to you and your team to do it. Okay. Yeah, I don't know. I'm just curious if that's roughly the mental state of things.
Right. I think there are a few people picking up items. I mean, James is pretty interested in picking up items, and I've been trying to find people internally at Microsoft, like over in MSR, Microsoft Research Group, or PhD candidates, or I've talked to someone I know over at Oracle to try and find different resources. So I've been looking at different options. Haven't been super successful, but those are the things I've been kind of looking at doing.
Andy, do you think there might be a subset of the P4.org community that would find this interesting endeavor? Never really tried to, let's say, explore that channel as far as I know.
So, I mean, I have a little bit of history with attempting to get like grad students and things like that interested in like finishing the implementation of the portable switch architecture on BMV2. And I was like, we had 1 or 2 grad students interested in doing stuff like that, and for a year or so, and it only got partially done. So, I mean, most popular, I don't know what, I think this is true of Linux, and I think it's true, and I did a survey of P4.org projects. Most of the good development is done by people paid full-time to do it, and then released into open source.
Yeah, you kind of took the words out of my mouth.
Yeah.
It needs to not.
It's not that all of it is, but like over 90% of it is.
Yeah.
Historically, that could change, but it seems unlikely to change.
So I'll bring that back internally to my group too. Maybe we have some P4 people internally. So
I mean, they're fairly big C++ projects that do not encourage dabbling for a weekend and adding a feature. They tend to require a little more a bit more learning curve before you can make significant additions usually.
Yeah, yeah, I would agree.
I actually agree, Andy. I think that this is the big challenge. Like, not all of us are P4, savvy. And like, had we chosen, for example, C as our behavioral model, like, I think that there would have been a bigger universe of like people that could have worked on it. I'm not saying we should switch at this point, but I think that's like a one of the challenges. And I think like some of these things, like take the ACL, for example, like in C, it could have just been modeled as just a sequential walk through a list of rules. And from a behavioral standpoint, that's perfectly valid, right?
And I would recommend if somebody wants to enhance BMV2 to implement it, they should do it that way too. Sorry, but I interrupted.
Yeah, no. So yeah, I think I think this is a challenge with like P4s being the behavioral model, is that like they're I don't know in different organizations, but like here we just don't have like a lot of expertise in P4, the simulator, or we're obviously we look at the P4 to understand the behavioral model, but it's like that's a challenge.
I will just mention I'm not offering time of anybody on my own today. There's a deep open source DPDK backend for the P4 compiler that has about 3 to 5 full-time equivalents at Intel working on it to enhance it, and it's got add-on miss and a bunch of other features in the portable NIC architecture added to it already, and they're tracking it as it gets enhanced, and they're paid to do so.
Right.
But what they have not done, which Marian I think and team have done, is creating these kind of scripts that can take SAI APIs and convert them into some kind of BMV2s. I don't know, actually know that you guys know better than I do. Probably they've looked at it, what that code does, takes SAI APIs down to something in the P4 land. And I don't know if that's easily portable to DPK or not.
I could talk on that topic if it's interesting. But I think Reshma wanted to say something because I know she's aware of the impending soft switch as well, right?
Right. I didn't purposely mention it earlier, but definitely the DPDK support, the P4 DPDK support for some of this feature is happening, and now we have more traction there than before. So in a few months, I think we'll be able to use it better from Dash standpoint with the features that are available in the P4 DPDK.
But are there plans, Reshma, to implement the list match kind in DPDK? That would be purely a functional reference model thing only, not a production thing, I would think.
A functional reference model only, not like for production, at least for now.
But is Christian signed up to add that feature or not?
So we can discuss that offline, but we have some other plans also to get Dash implementation open source. So we can use the P4 DPDK for that. Yeah.
Okay, I mean,
if that is the case, then that can be
happy to talk offline, but there's definitely things, there's gaps for DPDK as well that are specific to Dash that are functional reference model only, and probably would not be, nobody would want to use a sequential going through a list of source IP prefixes in a production data plane, but for functional reference model, it's fine for Dash.
Right, for functional reference model, it should be fine.
But it is unique work for DPDK backend and front end to do that. That has not been done to my knowledge.
Yes. Yeah. So we in the background, we are continuing to investigate this and doing quite a bit of work. We also announced it in OCP that we want to have a virtual switch based on P4 DPDK, a sonic virtual switch, implement all the SAI. That for us, the main goal is to also implement Dash. And as Andy was saying, the PNA architecture, involves just these things that we are talking about from the Dash standpoint. So interested in implementing and getting that open source as well. So yeah, in the background, we're actually working on this. And we want to discuss more at some point with the community, maybe early next year, to see this is the features that we have and what else we need to add to start using it.
Yeah, I just wanted to get this out there and talk about it a little bit, and see what you guys thought. Thank you. And did anyone have a particular work item they wanted to talk about?
I guess just a follow up on this one,
Sure.
Christina. Just I'm a little bit, I guess, not clear on what is the current state of BMV2 in the Dash community itself. In other words, have we modified anything from the vanilla BMV2, and if we have, what are the list of changes that have really gone into it, right? So if there is a list of that, and then of course we know what the backlog is, as you were mentioning, right?
Yeah.
But at least I wanted to see what they are, and so that way we can basically tell that what we are testing or what we are actually looking at has certain things implemented already, right? So.
Yeah, I know that Marian had to work with either SAI or Open Compute and also P&E to get a couple of different changes approved and in for use in BMV2. Was that right, Chris?
Yeah, it's just there's been some collaboration, but I think maybe one possibility here is to try to open up the work that's been done, and maybe there's other people that can help volunteer. It's a little bit of a cipher to me right now. What's happening back there in terms of the BMV2 itself and the compiler.
Yeah,
And,
we may
yes,
need Marian for this conversation. Yeah.
Yeah. Maybe that's the way to break up the logjam, is just to spend some time consciously sort of opening it up and putting it out there and soliciting more participation.
Right. So this probably begs the question that we should keep some sort of a document outlining within the community on the website, I guess on the GitHub, that what has been modified and what is still pending and so forth, kind of a thing, right? So that people know that when they're testing with BMV2, there is no surprise in terms of, oh, I have this BMV2, how come something is not working, right? Or how come something is working that I thought that shouldn't be working because of the fact that it was not supported in the vanilla BMV2, right? So
yeah, and we don't really have an owner all up for BMV2. We just have a lot of people contributing, but no overall project own. I see what you're saying. Yeah. Okay. Well, we could try and work on that.
I think we do need a project owner and somebody who can explain what the state of this is, because it's even not clear to me, like what's to be done. It seems like the hardware's got ahead of the actual software simulator, so it's not clear that somebody is the owner of that and can articulate that clearly. And if Marian's not going to be the owner, then we should maybe be looking for an owner.
Yeah.
Yeah, my feeling is the scope of this project and the complexity. There's like a handful of people who I know in the industry who can sort of hold it all in their head at once, right? And are uniquely talented to go. If they just sat down and did it full time, it'd probably get done, or the equivalent of one person spread out. But that type of knowledge and expertise is not widespread, and it does require like real dedication to finish it. And that's the real problem. It's a zero-sum game for these experts to work on that or something for production, right? That pays the electricity bill. So I think that's our dilemma, it almost needs to be sponsored in such a way that, you know, someone or some people can really just focus on it and get it done.
Well, we'll keep continuing to pursue then. You know, I would own it if I knew anything about software development and how to do it myself.
Okay, let's take that offline and let's
Mhm.
look for an owner. We
Yeah.
need somebody to own it.
Yeah.
I don't think Marion wants to own it.
No, I've asked a couple times now. Oh. Yeah, well, that's really, so it's a great question, honey. Really great question. And I agree with you. We do have, you know, a whole list of items, but the, you know, overall ownership and status would be great. And yeah, it can be a little bit frustrating when we have tests that we're trying to run and we have to mark them as, you know, do not run in BMV2. So I get it.
Well, thank you
And
so much.
Gerald,
Yeah.
and we were talking about that a little bit, Gerald, before you joined the call. Is, you know, we have test contributions to the Dash repo, and you can see here in the pull requests, you know, they're adding functional test cases, adding different, you know, baby hero test, BGP test cases, and we're marking them, you know, does not run in BMV2. Just FYI.
Right.
Okay, great. So that's about all I had for today. Do you guys have anything you want to talk about before the holiday break? Nope. Then I'll go ahead and close the recording and thank you for your time. And I
So
hope you.
Christina, is
Yep.
the holiday break going to be the next 2 weeks, the next week, or when does it start and stop?
So I'm displaying my screen here. Let me grab a calendar. It's a calendar. So I'm thinking I'm gone the week of the 19th, the week of the 26th, and the week of the 2nd. So that's what I was thinking.
But unless somebody else wants to take
Wants to run
the
it, yeah.
week of the 2nd, right?
Yeah,
I don't think
exactly.
the next 2 weeks, what we've been finding internally at Microsoft is day by day, people are just coming forth and saying, taking holidays. So
Yeah.
like everybody is almost like literally almost every developer that we have is like not going to be here for the next 2 weeks. So I suspect that's the same for most companies,
Probably.
Yeah.
but
Sure.
most people would be back by the first week of January. Not all, but most. I think if we can, you know, if either Rashma could take that, or like I wouldn't want 3 weeks to go by without meeting.
I'll be back on the 2nd afternoon. So, so Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, I can host the meetings.
Okay, thank you.
January 3rd, 4th, 5th. Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
thank you.
That would be good.
I'll be gone the first week of January, Reshma, so I can't back you up on those meetings, unfortunately.
Okay.
I'll make sure Yusuf is here. Or I can always pop in. No. But Gerald's right. Yeah, we have a lot of people just raising their hands saying, yep, we're out too. So I hope you guys have a good break regardless. And I'll
Yeah.
send out notes, you know, this week like I always do, kind of outlining the 2 weeks we'll be off and then the 1 week we're picking up on January 2nd.
Sounds good.
Okay, and if you have any ideas, I mean, any creative ideas, and I'll take it offline with Gerald too, about the whole BMV2 ownership, you know, please let me know. Like I said, I've looked into MSR here at Microsoft. I've checked with different groups. I've checked with Gohan, and I haven't really come up with anything on my own.
We can brainstorm on that offline too, Christina.
That'd be awesome. Okay, all right. Well, thanks, you guys. I hope you have a good break.
Yeah,
Happy
and Chris,
holidays.
I'd like to help with the brainstorming on that. I think we need to resolve that somehow.
Well, we have a meeting later today, so we can all talk.
Yeah, I think we're getting set up to test the hardware with the tests that are being developed, at least. But yeah, the BMV2 seems to be a problem. So yeah, we can talk about that later today.
Yeah, awesome.
Happy holidays, everybody.
Yeah.
Happy
Okay.
holidays, everybody.
Okay, thanks,
Bye.
everybody. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.